Have you ever wondered how we got here? I mean, not just you and me, but all of this, our cities, our technology, our entire way of life. It's a story that's been unfolding for thousands of years, a story of struggle, innovation, and the incredible journey of human civilization. So grab a seat and let's travel back in time to where it all began. Our story starts around 10,000 years ago with a massive shift called the Agricultural Revolution. For millennia, our ancestors were nomads, hunters, and gatherers constantly on the move, following herds and seasons. But then something amazing happened. In places like the Fertile Crescent in the Middle East, people figured out how to plant seeds and domesticate animals. This was a game changer. For the first time, we could produce our own food and stay in one place. This simple act of farming laid the foundation for everything. With a stable food supply, populations grew. Small bands of people turned into villages, and soon those villages swelled into the world's first cities. Places like Uruk and Ur in Mesopotamia became bustling centers of trade and culture. Life got a lot more complex. We needed rules, we needed organization, and we needed leaders. This is where government and social structures started to take shape. Kings and priests rose to power, and society began to stratify into different classes. But how do you manage a city with thousands of people? You can't just remember who owes what or what laws have been passed. You need to write it down. And so one of the most brilliant human inventions was born: writing. The Sumerians in Mesopotamia developed cuneiform, a system of wedge-shaped marks pressed into clay tablets. This wasn't just for accounting. It was for recording laws, like the famous Code of Hammurabi, and for telling epic stories, like the Tale of Gilgamesh. Writing allowed knowledge to be passed down accurately through generations, accelerating our progress like never before. As cities grew into powerful city-states, they started to interact sometimes through trade and often through conflict. This led to the rise of the first empires. Think of the Egyptians with their god-kings, the pharaohs, building monumental pyramids that still awe us today. They harnessed the Nile River, developed hieroglyphics, and created a civilization that lasted for 3,000 years. Or consider the Indus Valley civilization in what is now Pakistan and India, with their meticulously planned cities like Mohenjo-daro, complete with advanced drainage systems. Then we jump over to ancient Greece, the cradle of Western civilization. The Greeks didn't build a single unified empire in the same way. Instead, they had independent city-states like Athens and Sparta, each with its own identity. Athens gave us the radical idea of democracy, where citizens could participate in their own government. They also gave us philosophy, with thinkers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle asking fundamental questions about life, ethics, and the universe. Their ideas on logic, science, and politics would shape the world for centuries to come. And let's not forget their art, architecture, and epic poems like the Iliad and the Odyssey, which are still studied and admired. But the Greeks' dominance was eventually overshadowed by a new power rising from a small city on the Italian peninsula: Rome. The Romans were master engineers, soldiers, and administrators. They started as a republic, borrowing many ideas from the Greeks, but eventually transformed into a colossal empire stretching from Britain to the Middle East. They built incredible aqueducts to bring fresh water to their cities, a vast network of roads that connected their empire, and legal systems that still influence our laws today. For a time, under the Pax Romana or Roman peace, trade and ideas flowed freely across this massive territory. Every empire, however, eventually faces challenges. For Rome, it was a combination of internal strife, economic problems, and pressure from external groups. The Western Roman Empire officially fell in 476 AD, an event that many historians mark as the beginning of the Middle Ages in Europe. This period saw the rise of feudalism, a decentralized system where lords offered protection to peasants in exchange for labor. The Catholic Church became the dominant unifying force in Europe, preserving ancient knowledge in its monasteries and influencing every aspect of daily life. Meanwhile, other parts of the world were flourishing. The Islamic Golden Age, centered in cities like Baghdad, became a beacon of science, mathematics, and medicine. Scholars there preserved and built upon the works of the Greeks and Romans, making huge advancements in algebra, astronomy, and philosophy while Europe was in a relative slump. In China, dynasties like the Tang and Song oversaw periods of incredible innovation, giving us gunpowder, the compass, and printing inventions that would later revolutionize the rest of the world. Great empires also rose in the Americas, like the Maya with their complex calendar and pyramids, and the Inca with their vast mountain empire connected by an incredible road system. Back in Europe, things started to change dramatically around the 14th century. The Renaissance, or rebirth, began in Italy. There was a renewed interest in the art, literature, and philosophy of ancient Greece and Rome. Artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo created masterpieces that celebrated human potential. This was followed by the Protestant Reformation, which challenged the authority of the Catholic Church, and the Age of Exploration, where European sailors like Columbus and Magellan set out across the oceans, connecting the eastern and western hemispheres for the first time. This new global connection, however, came at a great cost. It led to the colonization of the Americas, Africa, and Asia, fundamentally and often brutally reshaping societies around the globe. It also kick-started a global exchange of goods, ideas, diseases, and people, for better and for worse. The next seismic shift was the scientific revolution. Thinkers like Copernicus, Galileo, and Newton challenged old ideas about the universe, using observation and mathematics to develop new theories. They showed that the natural world followed predictable laws, a mindset that paved the way for the Industrial Revolution in the 18th and 19th centuries. The invention of the steam engine and the rise of factories transformed society from a largely agricultural one to an industrial one. People flocked to cities for work, creating new social classes and new challenges like overcrowding and pollution. This era of rapid change also sparked new political ideas. The Enlightenment championed reason, individual rights, and liberty. These ideas fueled revolutions in America and France, toppling old monarchies and establishing new forms of government based on the will of the people. The 19th and 20th centuries were defined by the consequences of these revolutions, the rise of nationalism, the scramble for colonies, and ultimately, two devastating world wars that engulfed the entire planet and cost millions of lives. The Cold War pitted two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, against each other in an ideological struggle that lasted for decades. And we entered the digital age. The invention of the computer and the internet has connected humanity in ways that were once unimaginable, transforming how we work, communicate, and live. From a few seeds planted in the Fertile Crescent to a globally interconnected digital world, the history of civilization is an epic saga of human ingenuity, cooperation, and conflict. It's a story that isn't over. We are writing the next chapter right now with every choice we make and every problem we solve. It's a humbling and inspiring legacy to be a part of. Thanks for joining me on this whirlwind tour through thousands of years of history. If you enjoyed this journey, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the stories that made us who we are. See you next time.